What is up, Packers fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Draft. I am your host and the publisher of Packer Report, Ross Uglem. We are brought to you by Brewski, light lager from Badger State Brewing, the best can in the Midwest, right there at Badger State Brewing, just minutes away from beautiful Lambeau Field. We have a ton of really fun stuff going on for the NFL draft, and we will talk about that a little bit later. But right now, we are going to talk about Ohio State pass rusher Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer is indeed the guy who had the big, long scoop and score in the college football playoff. 4-year guy for Ohio State, good player, prototypical size. I believe right now, I don't know if we've got an all-star game measurement or something that's closer to where he'll officially be at the combine. The reason I say that is because he's got clean numbers. He's 6'5", 260. He's listed at 6'5", 260. So I don't know if those are official numbers. A lot of times, schools will round up to the nearest 5, 260, 265, 270, whatever. So, but either way, he at 6'5", 260, he's right there in the realm of what Green Bay would want. And to me, he can be a little bit scheme versatile. I think he could probably stand up for a 3-4 team if they wanted. But I think he's big enough for Green Bay to take him, but not so big that you're worried about not having bend or snap. Right now, frankly, in the way that I think it's valid to be worried about Lucas Van Ness. I don't think Jack Sawyer is that linear of an athlete or that kind of huge defensive end, if you will. He's good, but maybe not great. A technician in the pass rush game. He has a plan. It's not just all athleticism or hustle. Some guys, it's like motor. Sometimes it's guys that are just, turning the corner. That's not Jack Sawyer. I think he does a really, really good job. And especially if you're going to talk round one, I think a lot of people don't want to talk about this or are less concerned about this. And I'm one of those people, but he does a really, really good job at the point of attack. In the run game, he can go hold the edge, but he also has the ability to shed blocks a lot of times. The nickel and the safety or the outside defensive backs are the contained players in Halfley's scheme. So just being a defensive end that can set the edge is important, but it's not like as important because it's not what they're asked to do all the time. So his ability to shed blocks and get upfield, if they're going to run this attacking one gap style defense, is notable. And I think he'd be a plus run defender like immediately, even as a rookie. And a lot of times that doesn't happen for edges for pass rushers because they're just not strong enough. I think he's going to be strong enough immediately as a rookie. I think he's going to be an excellent run defender immediately. He's very consistent and very productive. He has 134 quarterback pressures in college, 25 sacks. Remember, guys, PFF doesn't do half sacks, which is actually how I agree with counting sacks. And then 29 QB hits as well. 89 overall PFF grade or higher in his last 2 seasons. And in his last 2 seasons, his pass rush grade is above 86. That, guys, and I know you can, we haven't talked that much about this year, but look, you can hate PFF, you can disagree with their grading, all those things, and I get it. I think it's obviously a subjective narrative, right? Somebody is doing that grading now. At PFF, it's being checked and rechecked and whatever, and I sound like I'm defending them, but what I'll say is, what a PF grade will get you more than anything, as I've correlated it to watching film, is consistency, because they do grade every play. And you may not agree necessarily with who's doing the grading, but the most consistent football players, I think, in the NFL and the most consistent football players at the college level are getting high PFF grades. Again, I don't know if it necessarily, like, if you want to argue that it doesn't correlate with the best players, okay. I mean, I think that bears out the opposite way, but consistency, I think, is captured most in PFF grades. He has 5 forced fumbles and obviously the massive return in the college football playoff. And the Packers do pay attention to this, so I'll mention that he was a 5-star recruit. Not that many guys are, and I know that goes back all the way to high school, but there's a talent aspect to it, right? And being a 5-star and being that highly thought of coming out of high school and then obviously producing and succeeding at the college level, just I think it's worth noting. You know what else is worth noting? The Green Bay Draft Guide, powered by Packer Report. I think you guys are going to love it again. It's out. Promo code DAILY for $1 off. Link in the description here or in the description of the podcast. We should have it up. I'm going to change the pinned tweet at Packer Report to make sure you guys can find it there. Should be linked in all my Mock Draft Monday articles. Guys, if you want it, and you should, you're going to be able to find it. Cons, not a ton of versatility on film. I don't think you can reduce him inside and play him at 3 technique. I think I mentioned I thought he could be scheme versatile. That really just pertains to playing with his hand in the dirt or playing on a 2-point stance. He's not going to be able to move all over the line. He played almost exclusively on the left side in 2023, and then he actually played exclusively on the left side in 2024. He might not be the super athlete you want on the edge, which might limit his ceiling. The top edge players in the NFL are usually space aliens. Like Myles Garrett's a 9.5 RAS guy, if not higher. Max Crosby is a crazy super athlete. The most successful, I know he had a rough season, but the most successful Packers edge rusher since Clay Matthews was Rashawn Gary, who's like a 9.9 RAS guy. Like the super duper pass rushers in this league, almost to a Micah Parsons, by the way, same thing. They're all 90th plus percentile athletes. And I'm not saying that there aren't some good pass rushers that aren't, because Zadarius Smith was a great signing for the Packers, but they never would have drafted him because I don't know that. I mean, I know Z's not a super athlete. I'm interested to see how Jack Sawyer tests. I really am. The ball get off is not elite. I don't know why. I mean, he's not jumping the snap count, obviously, but like I'd like him to get off the ball quicker. I think that could create more of an advantage in the pass rush game. I think that offensive tackles are able to kind of set up and wait for him. And he's going against right tackles playing that left defensive end spot, but he's not whipping them, and now I think teams are less, we'll put our run blocking tackle at right tackle and our pass blocking tackle at left tackle. But he wins plenty, but I think he's setting himself up at a little bit of a disadvantage by not getting off the ball a little bit better. Inconsistent use of hands, I would say, is why. I mean, he gets a lot of effort sacks. I know I said that he wasn't just a hustle guy, but he hustles. And I think better hand usage could make him a more consistent pass rusher. That's why he said he's a good, but maybe not great technician. Like he does get effort sacks. He does get effort pressures. He gets a lot of stuff like that. I would just like to see better hand usage. I like to see maybe a little bit more of a counter game from Jack Sawyer, but this is a good prospect. I know we get into the cons. It sounds like it'd be a negative, but it's a good prospect. Hip and ankle flexibility, I think, might be lacking. I'm going to be really interested. I think he seems a little stiff in his lower half. I'm going to be super interested to see the 3-cone time. That is, for me, that's your hip and ankle flexibility. It's the way you can turn. And a lot of great pass rushers have really good 3-cone time. So I'm going to pay attention to that because I do see that stiffness. I don't see him bending the corner a ton when he is winning his pass rush reps. Whether you're breaking down draft picks or breaking in a fresh pack of cheese curds, you need a cold one in hand. Grab a Brewski Light Lager, one of Wisconsin's fastest growing beer brands, crisp, refreshing, and built for game day. Or if you like your beer like your offense, bold and dynamic, pour yourself a Grassy Place Hazy IPA, the #1 IPA in northeastern Wisconsin. Packers fit. I think he is a fit. Obviously, he fits the roster. Having released Preston Smith, I think Enagbare is reaching the end of his rookie deal. What are they going to do with Lucas Van Ness as he enters year 3, right? Are they going to move on from him after year 4 and not pick up that 5th-year option? Right now, you'd say yes. A lot of pass rushers get it in year 3, right? It'd be his year 3, his year 2 in Hafley's system. I will never give up on an elite athlete at pass rusher, which Lucas is. I'll never give up on an elite athlete at pass rusher until the end of year 3. I just won't. Especially, I think he was a true junior. I think Lucas was really, really young when they drafted him. It hasn't been good enough, and I would have picked somebody else. I mean, I had him as my 20th overall guy. They picked him at 13. I had plenty of other guys I would have taken over him, but I'm not ready to give up. With that said, you still need to add to the room. Unless you have a lot of stock in Brenton Cox Jr., you need to add to the room. We'll see how the 3-cone goes. They care about that. Green Bay will care about that. Even they'll probably, I think they height weight adjust it is my opinion. But they'll care if he can't turn. They will not like to use a premium pick on him. I'd love him as their second round pick or as a trade down from 23. You'll see that now as we go to the overall part. He's got a solid round 2 grade for me. He's currently my 48th overall player and my 11th edge on my first evaluations. This edge class is good. This is a good class for the Packers to need a complementary pass rush piece. I just don't know that the ceiling is high. I think he's a really good run defender. I think the ceiling could be like an 8 to 10 sack player. But hey, that's worth the second round pick. I mean, if you just said, hey man, after a couple years getting ready, like year 3 and on, this guy will have between 8 and 10 sacks a year. You absolutely burn a second round pick on that. Guys, drink Badger State, buy the draft guide, buy the draft guide, and watch this here YouTube channel, the Pack a Day podcast YouTube channel. Have a great rest of your week and go Pack Go.